3 hours after the landslide buried me, Caleb rushed into the disaster area with the rescue team. A reporter shoved a camera in his face. "Captain Caleb, we heard your fiancée is trapped inside too?" His eyes were red and his voice hoarse. "I'll bring her home." At that moment, trapped under the rubble, I was watching the flashing red dot on my wrist. It was a survival locator bracelet Caleb had given me. He said no matter where I was, he would find me immediately. Everyone was moved by our love and praised his greatness in leading the charge. But they didn't know I had sent 3 precise location coordinates to Caleb, and the direction he led the team to run was a full 5 kilometers away from me. There was Serena, the only female member of his team. When I woke up in the hospital, the pain all over my body made me gasp. The room was quiet except for the television on the wall, playing disaster news coverage. On the screen were Caleb and Serena. They stood shoulder to shoulder, wearing orange rescue suits, facing the reporter's camera. Captain Caleb and Officer Serena's seamless cooperation is like a match made in heaven for our rescue team. Truly the best partners. "Captain Caleb, you not only rescued your teammate Ms. Serena at the first opportunity, but also disregarded your own safety to find your trapped fiancé under the complex rubble. How do you feel right now?" Caleb looked at the camera, his voice hoarse. "It's my duty. I just did what I had to do." Watching his affectionate demeanor, I trembled with rage. He didn't save me at all. The moment the mudslide hit, I used the survival bracelet he gave me to send 3 crystal-clear, precise locations. But he never came once. And Serena, with her meticulously applied makeup and only slightly pale complexion, hardly looked like she had just recovered from a serious injury. Now, Caleb has become a hero and a model boyfriend, and he and Serena have become the pride of the rescue team. And I have become the sole sacrifice. Just then, the door to the hospital room was pushed open. Caleb walked in. Seeing that I was awake, he grabbed my hand tightly, his voice choked with emotion. "Nora, you're finally awake. Thank God." His hand was warm, but I only felt a chill. Caleb didn't notice anything amiss and continued, talking to himself. "It was Marcus' team that found you. Humph, lucky for him. Always thinking about stealing credit. Who knows what tricks he pulled behind our backs." Marcus. In the last moment before despair consumed me, it was his voice that pierced through the layers of rubble. "Don't be afraid. We'll get you out right away. Stay awake." That face covered in mud, but with such resolute eyes. The person who truly saved me, nobody knows. How ironic. I pulled my hand out of Caleb's grasp and said calmly, "I want to see him, to thank him in person for saving my life." "See him? What's the point of seeing him? Just a second-rate team leader. Not worth you thanking him personally." I stared at him stubbornly. "I want to see him." Caleb's expression changed instantly. "What's wrong with you? Why do you want to see him so much? Nora, are you falling for him? He rescued you from under the rubble, and now you're going to give yourself to him out of gratitude." I used all my strength, my palm throbbing. Caleb covered his face, looking at me in disbelief. "What about Serena? What do you mean to her?" Serena was the only female member of Caleb's team, and also his junior from college. She always followed him around, looking at him with adoring and admiring eyes, often using work as an excuse to be physically close to him. Caleb always explained to me, "Nora, you're thinking too much. I only see her as a little sister." I used to believe him, but now I wasn't so sure. Caleb's expression became somewhat unnatural. "Nora, at the time, I was relying on the life detection signals from headquarters." "Signals?" I interrupted him, raising the bracelet on my wrist. "Doesn't this thing allow you to ignore all interference and see my exact location? Didn't you say when you gave it to me that it would guide you to find me immediately?" A year ago, when he put this bracelet on my wrist, his tone was solemn. "Nora, promise me, wear it at all times. With it, I will definitely find you immediately." Caleb's face completely darkened. The situation was too complicated at the time. The signals were severely interfered with. "I saw your location point flashing in Sector B." I bitterly tugged at the corner of my mouth. He always had an excuse. I didn't want to argue anymore. There was no point. I moved, wanting to sit up, but found that I couldn't feel my legs at all. My legs. I looked at him in panic. Caleb said with difficulty. The doctor said. Because you were trapped for too long, the nerves and muscle tissue died. You might never be able to stand again. I was struck by lightning. I couldn't hear anything. My head was filled with a buzzing sound. I'm sorry, Nora, it's all my fault. Caleb punched the bed, closing his eyes in pain. If only I could have been faster. I looked at him dully, and suddenly smiled, tears streaming down my face uncontrollably. Yes, if only you could have been faster, I said softly. If you had come in my direction from the beginning, instead of going to Sector B to save Serena. The door to the room was pushed open at that moment. Serena walked in, still a little pale. Caleb, Sister Nora, I came to see you. Seeing the tense atmosphere between us, she immediately showed a concerned and helpless expression. Sister Nora, are you okay? I'm so sorry, it's all my fault. If it wasn't for saving me, Caleb wouldn't have. Caleb instantly looked at her with heartache, comforting her softly. Serena, you were badly injured too. It's not your fault. No, Caleb, I must explain it to Sister Nora. Serena looked at me with red eyes. Sister Nora, please don't blame Caleb. He didn't intentionally save me first. The situation in the location where I was trapped was more critical. As the captain, he had to assess the order of rescue priorities. Such a thing as priority. A dense, numb pain spread through my heart. Caleb, do you have anything to explain? Caleb looked up, his eyes full of hurt. Nora, as a captain, my mission is to make the best choices and save the most lives. The best choice. I almost laughed out loud, pointing to my senseless legs. So, I was the one who could be sacrificed. His face darkened. I didn't abandon you. I just put me behind Serena. I finished for him, my voice cold. When we first got together, Caleb pointed to the team's wall of honor and said to me, Nora, this is full of people I've saved, but my ultimate mission is to protect you for a lifetime. Looking at the unfamiliar Caleb in front of me, I was in a daze. Where did the boy who valued me more than his own life go? I asked softly, Caleb, in your heart, I'm already a burden, aren't I? He shouted sternly. Can you stop being so resentful? Serena was also injured trying to save people. Can't you be a little considerate of us? I've made myself clear enough. If you don't believe me, there's nothing I can do. After saying that, he stopped looking at me, turned around, picked up the thermos on the table, opened the lid, and tested the water temperature. Then he handed it to Serena. That meticulous and caring concern was a luxury I hadn't waited for during the 3 hours I lay trapped under the rubble. The moment the door closed, tears finally fell. After being discharged from the hospital, Caleb, using post-traumatic stress as an excuse, cut off all my contact with the outside world. He publicly claimed that I had suffered severe psychological trauma after the disaster and resisted contact with the outside world. He took away my phone and computer. I was under house arrest. I knew Caleb was afraid I would tell the truth and expose his lies. Serena became a frequent visitor to our home. Under the guise of sharing Caleb's burden, she came almost every day. Sister Nora, I made you some porridge, try it. She walked into my room with a bowl of steaming porridge, her bright smile blinding. I said expressionlessly, just put it there. Don't be like that, Sister Nora. She held the bowl out to me. I know you're upset, but Caleb is really working hard. He has to train during the day and take care of you when he gets back at night. He's lost weight. Just feel sorry for him, okay? The implication was that I, the fiancé, didn't know how to care for him as well as a junior sister. I didn't take the bowl and stared at her coldly. The smile on her face faltered, then her hand tilted. The scalding hot porridge splashed all over me. The bowl fell to the ground and shattered. A sharp burning sensation instantly overwhelmed me, and I screamed. Oh dear, Sister Nora, I didn't mean to. Serena apologized, but didn't move an inch. She crossed her arms, looking down at me, the malice in her eyes clear. Just as I was about to speak, Serena's expression suddenly changed drastically, and she looked pitifully toward the door. I followed her gaze, and Caleb was standing there, his face ashen. Caleb, I just wanted to feed Sister Nora porridge, but she wouldn't take it, and she knocked the bowl over. Serena said with a sob, on the verge of tears. I trembled with anger. You're lying. You deliberately poured the porridge on me. I didn't. Serena cried even harder. Sister Nora, how can you say that about me? I know you're in a bad mood because you're disabled, but you can't falsely accuse me like this. Caleb strode to Serena and examined her hand. Did you get burned? His tone was full of concern and pity. I'm fine, Caleb. Serena shook her head, looking at me with tearful eyes. Sister Nora, Caleb turned his head and looked at me with cold eyes. Nora, look at yourself. Serena came to take care of you out of kindness, and this is how you treat her. She poured the porridge on me. Caleb, are you blind? I think you're crazy. He roared. Ever since you had your accident, you've been eccentric, you've become completely unreasonable. Serena is always thinking of you, but you maliciously suspect her like this. He supported Serena, his eyes filled with disappointment and disgust as he looked at me. Nora, do you think that just because you're crippled now, the whole world has to revolve around you? That I'll just indulge you and spoil you like I used to when you throw a tantrum? He pointed at my nose. Let me tell you, I'm already fed up with your lifeless appearance. Do you think it's easy for me to take care of you? If it wasn't because I love you, because I feel guilty, I would have long. He didn't finish, but those unspoken words were more hurtful than anything. I trembled with anger and reached out to push him, but because of the excessive movement, the wheelchair lost its balance. With a bang, I fell heavily to the ground, wheelchair and all. The shards of porcelain cut my arm, blood mixed with porridge, a wretched sight. And Caleb just watched coldly. Serena peeked out from behind him, the corners of her mouth curving into a smug smile, fleeting. Caleb, don't be angry, Sister Nora didn't mean to. She said softly. She didn't mean to, she's just selfish. Caleb seemed to have finally found an outlet for his frustration. Nora, take a good look at yourself. You're just a useless cripple who can't live without me. I work my butt off outside every day, and when I come back I have to wait on you. This moody invalid, I've already done my best. If it weren't for Serena constantly enlightening me, I would have been driven crazy by you. And what about you? Besides using your disability to hold me hostage, what have you done? I lay on the cold ground, looking up at them. The pathetic me, and them standing there, looking down at me. My chest felt so suffocated I could barely breathe. Caleb stopped looking at me, put his arm around Serena, and turned to leave. Let's go, Serena. I'll take you to put medicine on it, don't worry about her. I lay on the ground for a long time without moving. The wound on my arm was bleeding, and the skin on my legs burned. But these were nothing compared to the pain in my heart. I struggled to prop myself up and crawled back onto the wheelchair little by little. The wound on my arm had already clotted and stuck to my clothes, and it hurt with every movement. I looked at my pathetic self in the mirror, but my eyes were unusually calm. Tears and anger are the weapons of the weak, and I don't want to be weak anymore. Marcus's face, covered in dirt but with bright eyes, appeared in my mind. He was the only one who knew part of the truth. But how could I contact him? Caleb had taken away all my communication devices. I looked around and my eyes fell on a landline phone in the corner of the living room. I didn't have Marcus's phone number, but I remembered that the Dawn Rescue Team he was in was the largest non-governmental rescue organization in the city. My hand trembled as I dialed 114 directory assistance. Hello, please help me find the phone number for the Dawn Rescue Team. The operator quickly gave me a string of numbers. I pressed the numbers one by one, my heart pounding, afraid that Caleb would suddenly return. The phone rang for a long time before it was picked up. A young male voice said, "Hello, this is the Dawn Rescue Team. I'm looking for Marcus." My voice was a little hoarse with nervousness. "Who is this? What do you need to speak to our captain about?" The other person was wary. "My name is Nora. I'm a survivor of the landslide last time. I have something very important to say. I must speak to him in person." There was a moment of silence on the other end of the phone. "Hold on a moment." After a long wait, that familiar, steady voice finally came through the phone. "Miss Nora, Captain Marcus." I almost cried when I heard his voice. "It's me. How did you?" Marcus's voice held a hint of surprise. "Are you all right?" "I'm not all right." I lowered my voice and said dully, "Marcus, can you help me?" Marcus's tone immediately became serious. Tell me slowly what's going on? I told him about Caleb's lies and my current situation. On the other end of the phone, Marcus's breathing became heavier and heavier. Bastard! He cursed in a low voice. He doesn't even deserve to wear that rescue uniform. Captain Marcus, I know this is a presumptuous request. I pleaded. But you're the only one who can help me now. Could you take me away from here? It's not presumptuous, it's what I should do. Marcus's tone was resolute. Don't worry, I'll arrange everything. All you have to do now is protect yourself, and don't let them hurt you anymore. Caleb will be attending an award ceremony tomorrow morning at 10, right? Yes. I answered immediately. I'd seen it on the TV news. Good. Tomorrow morning at 10:30, I'll be downstairs at your building. Find an opportunity to come downstairs, I'll pick you up. But I can't get downstairs alone. Don't worry, I'll arrange for a female staff member to go up to help you under the guise of a community follow-up visit. You just need to find a way to open the door. Hanging up the phone, hope ignited in my heart. The next day, I acted as usual, quiet and silent. Before Caleb left, he told me hypocritically, Nora, I have to go to a very important meeting today. I won't be able to come back and have lunch with you. I asked Serena to come over and take care of you. Don't be childish anymore. I nodded without saying a word. He smiled with satisfaction and turned to leave. No sooner had he left than Serena arrived. She seemed to be in a good mood today, humming a song while busying herself in the kitchen. I sat in my wheelchair, quietly waiting. At 10:25, the doorbell rang. Serena frowned as she went to open the door. Who is it? Standing outside was a young woman in a community work uniform, holding a folder. Hello, we're from the community, here to do a follow-up registration for those affected by the recent disaster. Serena looked impatient. Register what? Can't you see we're busy? It will only take a few minutes. The woman said with a smile, while subtly glancing in my direction. I immediately understood and violently swept the water glass off the table. Ah! I cried out in alarm. Serena was startled and turned back to scold me. What are you doing now, you lunatic? The instant she turned her head, the community worker stepped inside and quickly closed the door behind her. Then she pulled a document from the folder and handed it to Serena. Miss Serena, we suspect you of providing false information and participating in the falsification of rescue records during the rescue operation. This is a warrant, please come with us. Serena's face turned pale, and before she could react, two plainclothes officers rushed up from the stairwell and restrained her. What are you doing? Let me go. Caleb. Caleb, save me. She shouted hoarsely, but it was all in vain. The community worker walked up to me and smiled gently. Ms. Nora, don't be afraid, mister. Marcus sent us to help you. Let's go. Downstairs, a car had been waiting for a long time. The door opened and Marcus sat inside, holding out his hand to me. Nora, you're free. I was placed by Marcus in a private sanatorium under his name. The environment here was quiet and secluded with strict security, and more importantly, it had a top-notch domestic rehabilitation medical team. Miss Nora, I've reviewed your medical records. Dr. Owen, my attending physician, looked serious. Your leg injury missed the optimal treatment time. If surgery had been performed in time, there would have been a very high chance of regaining the ability to walk. My heart felt like it had been pricked by a needle. What about now? I asked in a hoarse voice. Now. It's difficult. Dr. Owen sighed. Nerve damage is irreversible. But we won't give up. We will develop the most detailed rehabilitation plan for you, combined with the latest nerve stimulation therapy, and hope for a miracle. Inovet, Fangayu. Marcus stayed by my side the whole time. Seeing that I was in low spirits, he comforted me softly. Nora, don't be discouraged. You can definitely do it. My heart warmed. Thank you, Marcus. I said sincerely. Thank you for not giving up on me. It's what I should do. I'm a rescuer. Saving people is my duty. I raised my hand to wipe away the tears from the corners of my eyes, but the trembling of my fingertips betrayed my vulnerability. Just then, Marcus's gaze suddenly stopped, landing directly on the back of my hand, which was revealed when I wiped away the tears. There was a crescent-shaped light scar. His voice suddenly became a little dry. Your hand. This scar. I was stunned for a moment, lowered my head to look at the scar, and subconsciously replied, oh this. I got it when I was very young. To save a little boy who fell into the river. I was scratched by a stone. It doesn't hurt anymore. It was a very vague memory. I couldn't even remember the little boy's face. Marcus was stunned, speechless for a long time, with emotions churning in his eyes that I couldn't understand. After a long while he found his voice. That little boy. Did you also give him an orange candy? This time, it was my turn to be shocked. I stared at him with wide eyes, and the sealed memories suddenly became clear. That little boy, soaking wet, crying so hard he could barely breathe. To coax him, I took out the only orange candy from my pocket and gave it to him. You. Marcus's eyes were slightly red. He smiled, with a tenderness and determination that transcended time. I've been looking for that little girl for many years. I wanted to thank her in person. Thank you for pulling me up back then. And thank you for that candy. It was the only sweetness in my darkest days. He raised his head, his eyes burning. So Nora. Now it's my turn to pull you up. No matter how difficult it is, I will be with you to stand up again. After regaining his composure, Marcus took out a document and handed it to me. This is the original video I retrieved from our team's enforcement recorder, as well as the unmodified location data from the bracelet's backend. I opened it with trembling hands. The video showed the chaotic scene on the day of the landslide. Marcus's team was searching desperately in Area A when suddenly, his walkie-talkie relayed a voice from a teammate. Captain, have Caleb's team gone crazy? All the life detection signals are pointing to Area A. Why are they rushing towards the dead zone of Area B? Marcus's decisive voice came from the video. Don't worry about them. We continue to search. Don't miss any corner. And another document was the original data record from the bracelet's backend. It clearly showed that my distress signal and precise location were sent to Caleb's personal terminal within 5 minutes of the disaster. Furthermore, during the 3 hours he led the team to Area B, my location signal remained motionless in Area A. His so-called signal interference and location drift were all lies. And this? Marcus handed me another financial report. I asked someone to check Caleb and Serena's accounts. After the disaster, they received a huge bonus from the Bright Moon Charity Foundation, a total of $5 million. Bright Moon Charity Foundation? I frowned. Yes, the founder of this fund is Serena's father. I understood instantly. This was a carefully planned creation of a God campaign. Using my disability to exchange for their fame and fortune. Nora, what do you want to do? Marcus looked at me with firm eyes. Whatever you decide, I will support you. I took a deep breath and clenched the document tightly in my hand. I want them to be ruined and disgraced, to pay the price for everything they've done. I want everyone to know what kind of dirty, rotten souls are hidden beneath their glamorous heroic exteriors. A trace of relief flashed in Marcus's eyes. Nora, we can hold a press conference. I can come forward and tell the whole truth. My eyes warmed. Marcus never liked to show his face in public. Many reporters wanted to interview him, but he blocked them all with the sentence, I'm only responsible for saving people. Now he was willing to step forward for me. I held back my tears and said softly, I heard Caleb say before that your parents are top lawyers in the country. Once, Caleb was overshadowed by Marcus in a joint exercise plan, and came back complaining to me angrily. What genius, Captain, isn't he just relying on having a good family background? He took a sour sip of beer. His parents are all big lawyers, with a wide network. That's how he got to that position. When it comes to real ability, how can he compare to me? At the time, I found it jarring. I advised him. Caleb, it's not good to talk about your colleagues like that behind their backs, is it? I think that Captain Marcus is quite upright, not like you said. Because of this sentence, he sulked with me for several days. Looking back now, how ridiculous. The difference in human nature, like mud and clouds. Marcus was stunned for a moment, then understood what I meant. Yes. He nodded heavily. I'll contact them immediately. Caleb's commendation conference was held in great splendor. He stood in the spotlight, his chest full of medals, recounting how he had selflessly rushed into the disaster, and how he had miraculously found his teammates and fiancé. Whenever it's late at night and everything is quiet, I feel fearful and guilty. I didn't manage to bring my fiancée Nora back unharmed. It's the regret of my life. What I can do is to use the rest of my life to protect her, care for her, become her legs, and accompany her for the rest of her life. I watched the news and scoffed coldly. Hypocritical. The day after the commendation meeting, Marcus and I held an unannounced press conference. Marcus wheeled me, sitting in a wheelchair, into the glare of the flashbulbs. The reporters went wild. Miss Nora, aren't you unable to face the public due to post-traumatic stress disorder? Captain Marcus, why are you with Captain Caleb's fiancé? I raised my hand, signaling for silence. Looking directly at the camera, my voice was firm. I'm here today to clarify 3 things. First, I have no psychological trauma. I was simply illegally imprisoned by my fiancé, Caleb. Second, the reason my legs are disabled is not unavoidable. It was because Caleb, having my precise location 3 times, chose to abandon me to rescue his team's female member, Serena, who had only minor injuries, thus missing the best rescue time. Behind me, on the big screen, Marcus played a screenshot of the original location data from the bracelet's backend at the appropriate time. A gasp of air swept through the hall. Third, Caleb is not a hero. He is a liar who used my disability and lifelong pain to exchange for fame and fortune. Finally, Marcus released the Dawn Rescue Team's law enforcement recorder video, as well as Caleb's and Serena's bank statements showing huge bonuses. At this moment, a reporter shouted a question. Captain Marcus, as Caleb's colleague, what is your assessment of his actions? In what capacity are you standing here today? The focus of the audience instantly shifted to Marcus. He picked up the microphone and swept his gaze across the room. Caleb's actions are a desecration of the word rescue. He is not worthy to wear that uniform. He paused, his gaze returning to me, softening. My capacity today is simply as someone who wants to seek justice for the most important person in my life. The public opinion exploded completely. Holy crap! A century-level reversal. Caleb is scum? My heart aches for Nora being imprisoned. How did she get through it? I demand a thorough investigation of Caleb. I thought it was strange at the time, why it took so long to save his fiancée, but he was quick to save his teammate. Caleb was awakened by a phone call in the middle of a hangover from the celebration banquet. Captain, it's bad. Something happened. Look at the news. He opened his phone with a splitting headache, and the moment he saw the content of the report, he was completely sober. He rushed home like a madman. He pushed open the door, and the house was empty. Nora was gone. The wheelchair was still there, but she had disappeared without a trace. He trembled as he dialed my number, but there was no answer. Just then his phone rang. It was Serena. She said anxiously, Caleb, what do we do? People online are scolding us. Shut up. Caleb yelled at her for the first time. Did you leak the news? I didn't. How could I? Get out. Caleb hung up the phone and rushed out of the house, driving straight to the headquarters of the Dawn Rescue Team. However, he was stopped by the security guard before he could even enter the gate. Captain Caleb, please go back. Our captain doesn't want to see you. Where's Marcus? Tell him to get out here. Caleb roared, his eyes bloodshot. Just then, a black car slowly drove out of the gate and stopped in front of him. The car window rolled down, and Marcus sat in the back seat, looking at him with a detached expression. Caleb, you should go and kneel down to apologize to Nora, and to all the people you have deceived. You're helping her? Caleb rushed up and punched the car window. What right do you have? What qualifications do you have? I'm qualified because I'm a real rescue team member. Marcus looked him straight in the eye, word by word. I'm qualified because I still know how to spell the words conscience and bottom line. The car window slowly rose, isolating Caleb's roar. He looked at the car driving away, finally feeling a sense of overwhelming fear. Public opinion grew more and more fierce. The authorities quickly established a joint investigation team to investigate Caleb and Serena. Accompanied by a lawyer, I officially filed a lawsuit in court. Inside the investigation room, Caleb looked haggard, no longer with the high spirits. Caleb, please explain why, having Ms. Nora's precise location, you chose to go to Sector B first? The experts from the investigation team had sharp eyes. I judged at the time that there might be a large-scale burial in Sector B, which needed to be prioritized for investigation. Judgment. The expert pushed a document in front of him. This is the geological survey report of Sector B at the time, which clearly shows that the area is a hard rock structure, and the possibility of a large-scale deep burial is extremely low. This is a compulsory course for your rescue team, wouldn't you know? Caleb's face turned pale instantly. Another expert took out Serena's confession. Serena has admitted that after she was trapped, she contacted you by private satellite phone, exaggerating her dangerous situation to induce you to prioritize the rescue. And you knew that this violated the rescue principle, but you still chose her. What explanation do you have for this? Caleb opened his mouth, but couldn't say a word. He didn't expect Serena to sell him out so quickly. The investigation results were quickly announced. Caleb and Serena were both dismissed from public office and handed over to the judicial authorities for handling. The Minuet Charity Foundation was also investigated for suspected illegal transfer of benefits and fraud. Overnight, the once radiant hero couple became rats crossing the street that everyone shouted at. Caleb looked for me like a madman. He rushed to the sanatorium, but was firmly stopped by the security guard. Nora, come out and see me, he roared hoarsely. I know I was wrong. Please forgive me just this once. I sat by the window in the room, looking at him coldly through the slats of the blinds. Forgive? What qualifications did he have to ask me to forgive him? Marcus pushed the door open, holding a bowl of freshly cooked soup. Don't look, it's bad for your eyes. He walked to my side and drew the curtains. The doctor said you should replenish your nutrition. I took the bowl and said softly, thank you. You're being polite with me again. He smiled helplessly. By the way, I have something to give you. He took out a small metal box from his pocket, inside which was a brand new survival bracelet. This is redesigned by me. Marcus's eyes were a little unnatural. The signal frequency is independent, global positioning, waterproof and explosion-proof, and also has life sign monitoring functions. Most importantly, he paused and looked at me seriously. Its highest authority is always in your hands. Whether you want someone to find you, or you don't want someone to find you, it's up to you. I looked at the bracelet, my nose soured, and tears almost fell. A bracelet was once a symbol of my love, but in the end it became an ironclad proof of betrayal. And now, another bracelet represents new life, respect, and absolute security. Marcus, I looked up at him. Don't rush to answer. He seemed to know what I wanted to say, and gently interrupted me. Tell me the answer when you're ready. I'll wait forever. Downstairs, Caleb's roar was still going on, but I couldn't hear it anymore. In my world, there was finally warm sunlight again. With Marcus's help, I founded a foundation dedicated to providing medical and rehabilitation assistance to people injured and disabled in disasters. I used the huge sum of money that Caleb compensated me, plus the inheritance left by my parents, as the foundation's startup capital. Marcus used his connections to bring in support from many businesses and philanthropists for the foundation. I'm busy every day. Busy screening applications, busy contacting rehabilitation centers, busy communicating patient conditions with psychologists. I am no longer the crippled person who needs to be taken care of. I have become someone who can bring hope to others. Thanks to the efforts of Dr. Owen's team, my legs have also begun to have faint sensations. Although I still can't walk, it is already incredibly good news for me. This day, I was processing documents in the office when Marcus pushed the door open and came in. Nora, there's a project I think you might be interested in. He handed me a proposal, the Walker Smart Prosthetic Limb Development Project. My heart skipped a beat. This project is being tackled by my aunt's company, and it has already entered the clinical testing phase. I want to invite you to be the Chief Experience Officer. Marcus's eyes were bright and sincere. I hope that the first person to help you walk again is me. I looked at him, speechless for a long time. I have seen everything he has done for me in the past year or so. He never treats me as a disabled person who needs sympathy, but as an equal and independent partner. Okay. I smiled. I'm willing. Marcus, thank you for making me believe that there is still sincerity in this world. I'm willing to try, together with you. He was too excited to speak, just stepped forward and hugged me cautiously. A month later, the court hearing was held. I didn't go. The trial of Caleb and Serena was just a procedure that had to be completed for me, not the focus of my life. Attorney Grant, as my authorized representative, presented all the evidence in court one by one. Caleb's lawyer tried to acquit him by citing wartime stress response and misjudgment, but Attorney Grant refuted him perfectly with detailed data and professional rescue regulations. Serena, on the other hand, completely collapsed in court. She cried and identified Caleb, saying that everything was at his instigation, and she only did those foolish things because she loved him too much. Caleb sat in the defendant's seat, watching her frantically shift the blame, his eyes cold and silent. This woman he had once tried everything to protect had now become the dog that bit him the hardest. It was extremely ridiculous. In the end, the judge sentenced Caleb and Serena to 8 years in prison. The moment she heard the verdict, Serena collapsed on the ground and wailed. Caleb closed his eyes, and 2 lines of clear tears slid down his face. He did not appeal. Perhaps this was the only time in his life that he didn't choose to escape. After the verdict, Attorney Grant came to the sanatorium and told me the results. He also handed me a file bag. Caleb asked me to pass this on to you before the trial. I opened it, and inside was a thick stack of letters and a picture album. In the letters were his confessions, one after another, each word filled with remorse. In the picture album were drawings of me. There was a picture of me smiling at the children when I was teaching. There was a picture of me sitting on the steps, exhausted, when we were climbing a mountain together. There was a picture of me in a wedding dress, the way he imagined me marrying him. Under each picture was a line of small writing. My Nora, my light. I flipped through it quietly, without a trace of emotion in my heart. I put the picture album and the letters, along with the bracelet that he had glued back together after it was broken, into the fireplace. Flames rose, burning those false pasts to ashes. It's all over. Marcus gently hugged me from behind, his chin resting on the top of my head. No, I leaned against him, looking at the bright sunshine outside the window. It's all just beginning.